All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to get things rolling. So before I launch into some tips for you today to be able to talk to clients and answer difficult and tough questions in this market, I wanted to give you not the answers, but kind of the approach and your attitude towards the answers. That's the difference. So we as agents are going to get asked a lot of tough questions, and we need to be prepared to be able to answer those. And I'm not trying to spoon feed you what the answers to the questions are. I'm trying to spoon feed you the technique, the strategy, the attitude, the approach that you take in your responses to difficult questions about the market and what we're doing right now. Okay. I'm going to get in trouble if I have the alignment of this wrong when Rob videos, so bear with me. Okay, before I launch into my little lesson, one, I don't think it's going to take as much time, but I also want to show you some cool new discoveries and things that are happening within Moxie. Just kind of, again, whet your appetite, get you more familiar with how the program works and some of the features and tools that are in there. And if you have any questions about anything that I'm about to show you, we will. You're welcome to book time with me and schedule that opportunity. Um, to give you a little bit of a sense of urgency, if you have campaigns set up, if you have contacts in your business builder or Zap, guess what? All of that stuff goes away in December. So we've got 2 months. The time is now to what did they say? Make hay while the sun is shining. Am I remember? Is that the right metaphor? Thank you, Leah. I appreciate that. What do you know about metaphors, Claire? You're British. You don't know anything about American metaphors. All right, I am going to share my screen and show you just a couple of things real quick, and we'll have some fun here. Hold on. Okay, you guys looking at my my screen here? All right. I want to show you something that you may have noticed in the last 24 hours within your Moxie Engage setup. Did anybody happen to notice what's going on up here at the top? There, you are looking at my screen, right?
We're looking at your presentation.
Oh, my bad. Never mind. There we go. How's that?
Better.
Okay, thank you. Anybody notice what's going on at the top of your Moxie menu bar right up here that's happened in the last 24 hours? So let me explain to you what's going on. Notice it doesn't work right now. They are working on it. So one of the happy discoveries that we had, oops, where was I? Sorry, folks, I actually closed down the wrong screen. Don't you hate it when you do that? One of the happy discoveries that we determined whenever we were implementing both Moxie and Real Scout at the same time was that they actually talk to each other, that there's an integration between the two systems. Let me explain to you very briefly how this will eventually work when the functionality is fully employed. So there will be three ways in which Real Scout and Moxie are connected. The first one is through basically agent rosters. So when you create your Moxie account, it will also create an account for you in Real Scout. And those two accounts will be permanently linked together. Okay. Literally what is happening right now in the background is Real Scout is connecting our rosters together. Okay. The second part of what is going to work is the single sign-on. So notice when you click on your Moxie Engage, if you've done like I've done right here and put Moxie Works in your menu toolbar or your bookmarks bar, when you click that, you will automatically just be able to toggle seamlessly between Real Scout and Moxie without having to log in multiple times in both places. Okay, so that's going to work out real well. The other thing that is by far the most important thing is your agent or your client information. When you create a client in one, it is going to create the same client in the other. Okay, um, so if you have Joe Blow in your Moxie account, you will also have Joe Blow in your Real Scout account. And I don't know if anybody has ever noticed the similarities, but the similarities between some things like your neighborhood news subscriptions and your listing alerts. Has anybody noticed they look almost exactly the same in Moxie as they do in Real Scout? There's a reason for that, is because they are going to integrate with each other. So say, for example, like Aaron here, I've got him on a couple of campaigns. Those campaigns, soon I've got a holiday. I don't have him on a neighborhood news or a listing alert, but if I did, they would appear right there. And the great part about it is if I had created a neighborhood news or a listing alert, you would see it in both places. And you would also get a notification if you had a listing alert and somebody favorited a house. You would, in Real Scout, you would see it in your Moxie, and it would be recorded as one of their. If you see in your activity feed, I'm sorry, actually, you would see it in your faves and saves right here. This information would be populated from within Real Scout if you had created an account, a search within Real Scout. Okay.
Hey, Jay.
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. So if I've already created a neighborhood news or listing report in one, would it already be in the other one? Like, would it give them two?
Good question, and I don't know the definitive answer to it yet. Whenever the Real Scout folks finish the integration and the API that makes these two things talk to each other, we're going to get a full-blown briefing on exactly how the fields correlate and what we would need to do, whether duplication would be a possibility or not. I'm sure they've thought of that, but you never know. Okay. All right, so that is one really cool thing. I want to show you one other little idiosyncrasy, nice thing that I have figured out within here so far, and I need you to tell me how much of a problem this is. All right, so within your Moxie websites, who has tried to create their website and wanted to update your social media links and wanted to update your biography page and a whole bunch of other stuff that you could not get to work? Claire was one of them, Leah was one of them, several others. Let me show you what I am talking about. So you go to your social media links and you're trying to build your social media links. This information is locked down from your perspective, and that is because this is being fed from a different system within our Century 21 systems. It's being fed from within Dash. So if you can provide this information to me, I can upload that in that system, and this will then populate your Moxie Engage site to where you see these links down here, your social media links. Most of you do not have this if you tried to set up your website. It is possible to get it. There's just an extra step to it. And if you want to see me about it, I can connect those systems together and make this work for you. Okay. The other thing that everybody has been asking about is under the About Me, getting my bio filled out with your biography information. And again, this has to be fed from within Dash, which is another Century 21 system. And if you provide your bio to me, we can update it and get everything set up for your Moxie website. Okay. So this is one of those little idiosyncrasies about Moxie that they try to make it simple and dumb it down for everybody. So they want to pull information that's available in another system into it to have to keep from duplicating the wheel. Unfortunately, that means we have to go to a different place to update. All right. Enough about Moxie, and I've occupied 12 minutes of our time, but we're going to launch right in, and we're now going to get on What screen are you all looking at? Are you looking at tips for answering real estate PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So again, so the concept here we're going to talk about today very briefly is not having the answers to the questions, but your approach to those questions. Okay. So the best way to deal with the difficult questions, the tough questions about today's market is a simple acknowledgement and just simply remembering that we can't control the real estate market. We can only control what we can control. And it's just that simple. You know, we would like to think that we have the power to change the market and that your marketing abilities can sell any property. There is something to be said with that. And you should approach it like you're that confident. But the reality of it is the ebbs and flows of the economy is always going to take place. And we can't control mortgage rates. We can't control the stock market. We can't control the weather. We can't control political and economic factors. We can't directly control them. We can control them by voting, which I encourage everybody to do. But we can only control ourselves and our marketing position with this property. Okay. Just simply that acknowledgement can go a long way. All right. The next thing that we got to do is our job is very simple. It's simply a matter of connecting the right buyer with the right seller. You know, but how do we do that? It's much more difficult in a tight market. Most of us, about 75% of us, have never been through a difficult market like this before. So the best way to connect buyers and sellers is through a strong network of relationships in order to make those connections. Okay, so having a good agent pool, having a good vendor pool, having the relationships with others to be able to make those connections. BNI groups, all of that. But I love this quote. Right now, you just need to marry the house and date the rate. Who has heard that one before and used it often? Love that. Marry the house, date the rate. Rates can change. Okay. Third tip, know your numbers, know your stats. Come prepared with your data. Okay. Buyers and sellers like to know everything about their listing, prices, the ratios, the interest rates, the days on the market. You know, how long do they think that they should actually expect to be able to sell? The best strategy is have the arsenal all ready to go. Don't be surprised when they ask those difficult questions. So what is in your arsenal? What do you take to your house to sit down with your buyers to explain all of these things? Well, one, you're going to take obviously your CMA. You want to take your net to seller worksheet so that they understand exactly what the numbers look like when they come out. You want the absorption analysis report. Who here knows exactly what the absorption analysis report? Show of hands. Okay, Amy's been in one of my classes before. I think that's going to be a future class coming up very soon. Okay, absorption analysis report gives you some great information about days on the market, how many other homes sold, what the months of inventory is in a particular zip code. It's a great tool to help diagnose what the market conditions are. Okay, your closing cost estimate is another tool that you can use. Partner with a lender like Greg for mortgage information rate sheets and a sampling of the different type of loan programs. So you can have materials that have what an ARM is, what a 2-1 buy down is, what a conventional mortgage rate interest rate is. So this relates to another one that we're going to talk about here in a minute of partnering with others. Okay, so those are the things to know your numbers, know your stats, and be able to talk to them confidently. This one is kind of obvious. You want to have prepared answers for the most obvious, most asked real estate questions. There's a good reason why people are hiring you as an agent. You need to be able to answer those questions. Lean on the experiences and the positions of yourself and the experts that we meet and deal with every day, and have the market analysis to back everything up. You need to be able to explain things like the inverse relationship that exists between interest rates and home prices. Explain to me what you think that what is meant by that, the inverse relationship between interest rates and home prices. Come on, somebody. If you were to think about it, go ahead.
So when interest rates are higher, the home prices come down, and when the interest rates are lower, the home prices shoot up.
There you go. That is the inverse relationship. If you were to think about it in a graph, interest rates are like this, prices are like this on these lines. And when interest rates are high, sales prices are low. So what is happening right now is the federal government is artificially raising interest rates to curb demand to try to keep inflation in check. There's still that same demand out there. There's still all of those people that want a new home. They've just stopped because of everything being being regulated to the point where that's the intent. What's going to happen in a few months to a year is going to be prices are going to interest rates are going to start coming down. All that demand is still there. Prices are going to go right back up. Okay, so that is not something that we can control. That is the law of supply and demand. That's economics. But if you can help your clients understand that, they will know and be able to answer the decisions as to whether or not wait now, buy now, sell now. Those are the kind of questions that they want to know. Okay. Back to sharing my screen. And the question is, where do we find all of these answers? Great question. It's, the tip is have answers to the most asked questions. This is where you're going to get engaged in your brokerage here. And if you're not involved in our huddle sessions every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, if you're not in practice sessions, if you're not in these foundations groups, this is where you get armed with this information. All right, so take advantage of everything. If you can't do it via being here in the office, everything is on video. You take advantage of it there. All right. Another tip, having the right answers is important, but knowing the whole situation is also important on how to go about answering those questions. So in order to answer good questions, you have to be able to ask good questions. And when you ask good questions and take notes, it's things like, where are you going? How soon do you need to be there? What's the most important thing in getting the house sold? Is it important that is it the price? Is it the showings? What are your priorities in order to know how to diagnose and how to create the strategy that is going to get your client to that position? Okay. I see people taking notes like you're writing down the questions, but I can share the deck with you. Okay. All right. This is really good. I like this one. People are going to respond emotionally in many cases. If you haven't seen it yet, you will soon. This is not just a home or a house. This is not just a house to your client. It is their home. It is where they've raised their family. It is where they have, watched their daughter go to prom on that front porch and taken those pictures. There's going to be emotion involved in it. They've got a lot invested in it. They've invested a great deal of money and their hard work into it. It is natural for people to be emotional, but none of that works when you're dealing with the realities of cold hard economics and appraisers and negotiating with other sides, because not everybody sees it the same way. But when people are emotional, you need to have the logical answers, and you need to create that pivot of the conversation from emotion to logic. Okay. And when you do, they actually do come around. So the best technique that I have found for this is this one. It's a 3-step process: acknowledge, empathize, and respond. Acknowledgement is, I certainly understand how you feel, Mr. Seller or Mr. Buyer or whoever you happen to be talking to. And then an empathize. Many of my clients have expressed the same concerns or have encountered the same problem, and this is how we dealt with it then. And then your response is, this is a very generic, it depends on your situation, but this is the reality of the current market. But it goes a long way when you acknowledge, empathize, and then respond. All right, anybody got any questions on that? And then the last tip that I have for you today is educate yourself with the help of our partners, our experts. You don't have to do this on your own. Connect with local experts in the marketplace. Learn about handling difficult dialogues with those that are more experienced. For example, 9 a.m. practice sessions, 4 days a week, huddles, Connect Wednesday, market updates. You can take advantage of stuff that is being offered at the board. Georgia Association of Real Estate has some great classes right now. Capitus has some great classes. All of these are areas where you can educate yourself and partner with somebody smarter than you. A great person to start with and to partner with would be Greg. When you're talking about interest rates and all those things, Greg's got some great rate sheets and interest and things that you can, collateral information that you can put into your listing packages and buyer packages that will help. Just one example of many opportunities where we can do stuff like that. All right. Who has any questions or comments today? Questions about Moxie? Anybody encountering any CRM issues, systems issues, technology issues? We had a little glitch yesterday with Docs Plus. I think it's resolved this morning. If anybody has any challenges with that, let me know. Or help desk. And if anybody needs help with their social media and their bios, getting them onto Moxie, I'm your guy to help you out. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Let me know if you need anything.